Hey guys, what's going on? Zach here. Hope you're having a good day. So I was a little late on the update vid yesterday. I just basically didn't do it because there was no big updates that I was going to talk about as far as dead man mode, because I don't really play dead man mode. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you already have either stopped for the season. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I should make a video on it. But today the dev blog, the newest dev blog for raids came out. And this is obviously something that's going to affect a lot more people. This probably will end up being one of the most popular polls in old school since 2013. So yeah. Also, there's an update that's not on this list that I'm going to bring up too about the Bandos Godsword, which I heard is really rising in price today, upwards of, I think it's going for like 6 mil now, because if you look at this price right here, just today it's jumped a lot. Now, from what I heard, they're probably going to poll making the BGS spec 50%, which means you'll get 2 specs every full bar, which obviously would increase the usefulness of Bandos Godsword a lot, especially at Corp or wherever. So yeah, that could be a cool update if it passes, but BGS is definitely rising a lot. So yeah, the raids have been in development for a long time. I know they were originally supposed to come out this past summer, but the team has really been taking their time and really being meticulous as far as polling the rewards. And I think they've already run one poll in which some of their main reward ideas got shot down, didn't reach the 75% threshold, which that's a whole other subject. I could go into the topic of whether old school should have unique and new content, or if it should just remain only old school. I think that's a subject for another day, but it is kind of sad to think that people actually think that this game would be better, like even if we hadn't have added God Wars. Although I don't know if there's any people who still think that. But I mean, to have the mindset now that we can't have new things because it's old 07 RuneScape, I just think that's sad, and you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff. So obviously the first update, and I feel like we're never going to escape Dragon Claws in old school. A lot of people maybe are kind of coming around to this. I think the support for them has been growing, and really they're not as super overpowered as people might think. I was watching Soup's videos or Third Age Films videos earlier, and he made a good point. I mean, really they weren't that hard to tank out, especially if you were solo PKing. I know if you were clan PKing and a bunch of people had them, then yeah, they were pretty lethal. But yeah, I mean, really, when you stop and think about Dragon Claws, they're not that overpowered, especially when we have things like the Trident. And I know you can't use that in PvP, but we have really strong weapons like the Ballista now. AGS has always been really strong. I really don't think Claws are going to break the game. I think that's what Third Age Film said too. I think they would just be a good addition, and that would be a cool drop to have from raids. Apparently there was a suggestion for Abyssal Claws, which was basically to make kind of a new version of Dragon Claws, but have 70 attack, and then thus be named Abyssal Claws. And then they went on to explain that if they're going to bring anything but with claws back, it'd be better to just, have them as they were originally known. So yeah, claws coming back, or they will be pulled. I'm just going to say, I hope they pass. I always have a lot of fun with claws, and if that isn't popular, okay, it's fine. The cool thing is the polls you get to vote, and really I've seen over the last couple of years just how much power the community has to vote, and sometimes I don't necessarily agree with the polls. I've been disappointed that certain things haven't come out. But yeah, really, as far as them just like putting updates out without asking anybody, I think this is a lot better. And that doesn't mean the process is always going to be, good. Or it doesn't mean the process is always going to be the way you want it. So one of the new sets of robes, and this is probably the one I'm most excited about, is Ancestral robes. You've always had Bandos and Armadillo as like the 2 upper tier, melee and range armors, right? But you've never had a non-degradable mage equivalent of those sets. So Ancestral robes would be that set. You would need 75 magic and 65 defense to use. And then there would also be a 2% magic damage increase per piece worn. So you can get up to 6% magic damage. So if you stack these with like the Toe of Fire and the Staff of the Dead and the Occult and all those things, you can get some really hefty damage bonuses. But as they go on to say, they're going to be really difficult. Like this is only going to come from the final challenge of raids, which I guess is called Ulm. I didn't know that until reading this. So these aren't going to be probably in the same price range as Armadillo or Bandos. So I'm guessing they're going to be, a lot of money. But it says here they'll be very difficult to acquire, which is probably good because these robes sound really, really strong. So Arams will probably still be like the main choice for mages unless you're just stupidly rich and you want to use these for PKing just to show off. But yeah, I'm excited about these. I hope you guys are too. The Twisted Bow is an interesting one. and I was reading about it too. It changes in strength and accuracy when used against magical opponents, and they use a specific example. It also takes 75 range. They use a specific example here about Dagonoth Prime. So the higher the mage level of your opponent or monster, then the deeper or the bigger the buff for the bow. So in this case, if you're shooting Dagonoth Prime, and since he has a magic level of 255, the buff is 217%. So, but also the lower mage level your, the opponent has, the lower the buff. So if the monster has a magic level or bonus of 1, you'd only get a 54% bonus of its base damage and accuracy. So these would not be good against, I'm guessing, like Abyssal Demons or something like that. So that's kind of cool. There's a cap of 250% damage on 250% on the damage and accuracy buff, so it doesn't be super overpowered against stuff that's coming out in the future. So yeah, I am in favor of this. This sounds pretty fun. The Twisted Buckler. Okay, if I remember right, back before RuneScape 3 came out, but kind of during the transition to Evolution to Combat, there was an Armored Buckler, and like no one used it, or at least I didn't see anybody use it. So hopefully this doesn't end up being like a repeat of that. Hopefully this actually has some use. This basically sounds like a super Odium Ward. And they even say this is going to be the successor to that, but it will be a lot more expensive and difficult to obtain, so you're probably better off using your Odium Ward. So this is kind of cool. Have another range, I guess super range shield with range attack bonuses. So that'll be nice to have. Now this is probably the most interesting thing I've seen in a while. This is a completely new type of armor. It's a two-handed shield. It says it's called Dinh's Bulwark. The Bulwark is unlike any shield or weapon currently in game and offers some interesting advantages to its users. So if you look at it has really high defense stats, and it has 100% attack, 110 crush bonus. And so it uses 50% of the special attack bar and hits enemies within a 5x5 area with 20% increased accuracy. So the special effects, when using the block style, Dinh's Bulwark cannot be used to attack, but will reduce all incoming damage by 20%. So basically, if you're tanking and you want to hide behind this thing and just kind of let your other teammates do a lot of the damage, you can really reduce how much you're getting hit. So I think that's the block attack. Yeah, it says when using block, you're unable to attack. All incoming damage is reduced by 20%. So that could be a useful tanking function, right? So then when you're using pummel, you can attack with the shield, and I'm guessing that's related to the special attack, but you also lose that 20% damage reduction. This is really interesting because we've never had something like this, so I think that'll be, I don't know, I'm curious to see the reaction to that. I personally will vote yes because I'm in favor of new stuff in old school. I don't think new content ruins old school. I think it's just fun to have new things. I mean, imagine if we didn't have the demonic gorillas. We wouldn't have Zenite and any of that stuff, and I really think that everyone tends to like that. Almost through here. The Dragon Hunter crossbow, this could be useful. It's a unique ranged weapon with increased power when fighting dragons, so that's cool. You're using dragons, and it has a higher whatever. So 65 range, offers a base bonus of range 95 range attack. Fighting dragons will empower the weapon, increasing both accuracy and damage by 10%, and it's stacked with Void. So that's cool. That's probably not going to be as expensive as the other drops, but that can be very useful if you're, I don't know of any people that can't dragons anymore, but if you're into that kind of thing, and you don't have to have a super high range level, that could be very useful for even like Pures, or Void Pures, whatever. So now we get into the degradables. Now I feel like we already pulled these. Maybe they've reworked them a little bit. I don't remember the specifics. So this sounds basically like 07's equivalent of Torva and Virtus and I forget the other one. What's it called? Pernix. That was the range armor. Okay, so 75 defense, which Torva was 80, I think. But see, it also degrades. This is like super high armor. It degrades. The helmet degrades at a rate of 20k per hour of use. The plate body at 50k. And the legs at 30k. So basically, if you're wearing the whole set, that's 100k an hour you're losing. So very elite armor. Kodai robes, basically, like I said, the Virtus, and they degrade at the same rate. But if you look at these stats, I won't go into the stats because I'm not really into that sort of thing. I mean, I know what stats are good when I see it, but yeah, these are obviously going to be very strong. So I'm going to vote yes on these because I like to see new armor in the game. And then Twisted Armor, basically the Pernix of 07, and also degrades at the same rate. So yeah, I feel like they already pulled these. Maybe they've tweaked them a little bit. I'm curious what will pass. I honestly don't think Twisted, Kodai, and Elder will pass. I hope they do. I don't think they will. The Dragon Hunter, I think that will pass. Dinh's Bulwark, I honestly think it won't. I wish that this would. I would love to see a new type of armor in the game, or a shield. Buckler, I don't think it'll pass, but I personally think D-Claws will pass. I think they finally will get in, and that might cause a civil war in RuneScape. I hope not, because I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Ancestral robes, I really hope those pass too. Twisted Bow, like I said, I hope that passes. So anyways, a lot of new updates potentially coming to 07 Scape, which is my game now, and a lot of you still play it. So these will be pulled. They're going to monitor the feedback this weekend. If necessary, they will tweak the rewards. So that's one thing I like about the community, is they really listen to feedback. They're constantly making tweaks. They've even scrapped entire skills that were already pretty much planned because it didn't pass the poll. So it's not like they're always just going to say, we'll just put it in anyways because we took a lot of time. No, I mean, the polling system, it can be frustrating, but I think it is the right way to go. So people give their feedback and they'll look at it and they'll make tweaks. So it's really cool that we have the opportunity to kind of, make modifications to these things just by giving feedback. So yeah, hopefully you guys are as excited as I am about these potential new rewards. I cannot wait for raids. That's why I've been boosting my account a lot, trying to get the the money up and the combat level up. I really want to be able to participate when it finally comes out. And really, these armors just give me more reason to be excited. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'll be back on Monday with the first Motivational Monday video of this channel. Hopefully it won't be too cheesy, but I really want to give you guys something every Monday to kind of, just if you're into YouTube, making a channel like me, if you're doing RuneScape, whatever, anything that requires motivation to keep going, I really want you guys to have something from me every week to give you kind of a boost. So I'll see you on Monday, and you guys have a great weekend.